Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm really looking forward to showing you this fantastic collection of 5 embossing folders from our friends at Hunky Dory. So let's take a look at what we've got. Now, first, I'd want to point out that on the front of each package, you can see a nice big project idea. Now, this really gives a good idea of the overall design of the pattern, and it also gives you some instant inspiration. So we have cogs and gears. Then we have wooden panels. There's the studded leather. I really love this project example. Then we have gentle waves. And finally, there is the classic Hessian. I'm going to flip this one over so that you can see there is a flap here. And later I'm just going to pull off the tape enclosure back here because I can use these sturdy envelopes as storage for my embossing folders. So that's really handy as well. Now, there are lots of great techniques that you can do with embossing folders, especially with those that have a great versatile all-over design. So today I have a couple of projects to share with you and some demos too. As you can see, we have a lot to explore today, and I'm so glad that you're here. Come play with us. Let's first take a look at the basics of embossing folders. So I've grabbed the wooden panels design, which is going to give you this really cool wood effect. Now, the embossing folder is going to open up just like this. It's a sturdy plastic folder. You can use this again and again. All you need to do is just nest your cardstock right inside here, close it up, and then run it through your die cutting machine. Now, because embossing folders are thicker than cutting dies, you'll likely need to change up the plates in your embossing machine / die cutting machine. Usually they're a combo, and you'll want to have a quick look at your machine, make those adjustments before you run this through. And then once you do, you will have a piece that looks like this. Now, I can appreciate that it might be a little tricky to see the pattern on here, but this is where the fun comes in. Of course, you can use this just as is. It's beautifully tactile, looks really nice close up. You can also emphasize some of this pattern on here too. And that's what I've done with this card. So here you can see I've got the wooden panels on either side of my card front. I have embossed this onto patterned cardstock. And the paper that I'm using here is from the X-Ray Flowers pattern paper set as well as the cardstock set. Now, in this case, what I've done is added a little bit more depth and dimension by inking on here. So let me bring back in my piece of embossed white cardstock that you couldn't really see much. And I'm going to grab my Velvet Fawn dye-based ink pad. This is also from Hunky Dory. Now, a couple of ways you can add your color on here. You can take a blending brush and simply ink this up and apply the ink like so. I think you can see that pattern coming out there. You can also just take your ink pad lightly and apply it directly to the cardstock itself. And then you can really emphasize that design in there. It's quick and easy to do and gives you a really fun effect. So coming back to our card, well, all I've done is simply trimmed apart that piece so that I've got a strip on either side of my Z-fold card, which opens up like this. And then my card focal here, this beautiful floral element, is from the Easy Watercolor Floral set. And I've used this design down here. I stamped this first with black pigment ink and then embossed it with clear embossing powder. And then I used some of the other Hunky Dory dye-based inks just to paint that in with some watery ink on there. Gives a really fun contrast to those beautiful earth tones. Then I've got this on a nested die-cut circle, and it creates a really fun focal element and really emphasizes my embossed background on here. So this is one fun way to use this. Now I have another card project that I want to show you, and this one also showcases some inking, but rather than highlighting the raised detail of the design, it's actually emphasizing some of the background. Now this is also totally changing the overall look of my pattern paper, which I've used here. So for this one, I'm using the studded leather embossing folder, and I've already gone ahead and embossed this. You can see on one side that I've got the detail over here. On the other side, I've got this beautiful all over design. I'm going to take my blueberry ink pad. Same process as before. Again, you can use a blending brush or you can just go direct to paper. And starting with a very light touch, you can always add more ink, but a light touch is going to allow you to really get a lot of that surface area without getting ink into some of the details there. So that's really going to create a very fun and different look. And then I've used this on the front of my card with this whole background. I inked around the outside edges using some metallic silver ink. Then I've mounted this onto some cardstock, and I've also added my Dazzle sentiment in here. Now this is framed with some die cut elements from the Flower Frenzy cutting dies, and I've accented those with some diamond sparkles, also from Hunky Dory. Then for my card inside, I've got another strip of that pattern paper, got another layered floral element, and the other portion of my script Dazzle sentiment. Besides altering the embossed design with ink, you can also create a really cool look by removing some of the color from the embossed cardstock. Now this works with cardstock that has a white core, and you can tell if it has a white core if you can see a white edge when you tear it. And again, this is from the X-Ray Flowers cardstock pack. So if I tear this, you can see that I've got a white core in here, which means that if I'm sanding an embossed design from here, it will reveal some of that white core. So let's take a look at this. Here I'm using the Cogs and Gears folder, and I've just simply embossed this using some purple cardstock. And then all I need to do is grab my super sanding tool and just gently work in a circular motion and remove some of that color to reveal the white core underneath. Now you can do the entire piece or just portions of it if you wish. Create some really fun opportunities. Now going back to our card, I've also got some pattern paper here on the front of my card. Trimmed down this embossed piece and mounted this up. I used a little bit of silver ink around the outside edges. And then I've got a pretty butterfly focal. This is from the Butterflies Cutting Die collection, and it layers up really nicely. Then for the card inside, we have some more pattern paper and a Dazzle, plus another little butterfly here. Now I've got another card project to share with you. This one is also another example of the sanding effect, and this is using lighter colored cardstock. So here I've embossed with the classic Hessian on yellow cardstock, sanded off a lot of that yellow, leaving some of the white to show here, and then I've layered this behind some of that gorgeous floral pattern paper. The Dazzle focal is from the You Are Loved Dazzle set. Then for the card inside, I have some more pattern paper, and I've got another strip of that sanded embossed cardstock and another little Dazzle on here. Now, before we finish up today, I've got one more card project that I want to show you. So we've been altering the patterns with ink and sanding, but you can, of course, simply emboss your cardstock and let that be a beautiful and subtle background, and that's what I've done here. Now you can also emboss just a portion of your background, as I've done here, by simply positioning only one area of the cardstock in your embossing folder. So if I take my blue cardstock, and instead of nesting this all the way up to the top of that fold, instead positioning it just like so. So it's only halfway or a portion of that design, and then running this through my die cutting machine, then I will create a piece that is embossed only on one area and smooth on the other area. Now this means that I can emphasize that border, maybe using a Dazzle border sticker, or I could even do maybe a ribbon or something like that, which is what I've done on here, to create another kind of different look with some dimension and texture on here. And here I'm using some of the Bigger Blooms floral die set. Wrapped this with some twine and again have a little dazzle down here at the bottom. Then for the inside I have some more embossing down here, and I've also got some more flowers here. Some of these have been die cut from embossed cardstock, and with simpler shapes you can do that too. So for example, taking this piece here, and this one has been embossed with the waves, and then maybe taking some of those Bigger Blooms dies, simply positioning them on here, securing them down with some low tack tape, run them through my die cutting machine, changing up those plates again, of course, and then I can have a nice dimensional floral embellishment for the inside of my card. And that is our final project for the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Hunky Dory for these really useful and versatile embossing folders. They are just so much fun to work with and give so many different and fun effects. A special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad you're here, and we're happy that you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Please feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.